I was like, we gotta have these while we're here.
She starts screaming. No, oh.
She's looking at me like, uh-oh.
Ryan, Nicole, and I all went to Canada. We got there at around 9. We settled in. We were thinking of somewhere to go out. There's that song, Ode to Viceroy, where he talks about, like, you know, the cigarette. It's basically a love song to a cigarette. I was like, we gotta have these while we're here, just for the memories, you know? We got to a supermarket and we saw like a child, like all wrinkled, whatever. They have like old people with gas masks on, like, do not smoke, it causes emphysema. And then there's like one of an empty crib or something. It's crazy. Everything that you could think of not to get you to buy it, it was just like on that package. So we were like, okay, I'm not getting this. Then we went to, like, you know, the equivalent of a corner store or whatever. I was like, maybe these will be different, but you know, same thing, causes lung cancer. I'm like, all right, we're gonna do this, fine. Me and Ryan had one each outside, and it was like really awesome. We had like a nice, you know, little miniature existential conversation about where we're going in life, but we were out there for like an hour and a half just talking. It was just so awesome to be absorbed in the culture. Like, we heard a Canadian artist singing about a Canadian cigarette, and we're in Canada smoking the Canadian cigarette. So I don't know. It was cool to me, which I actually shouldn't have. They asked us if we were bringing any like tobacco back or anything like that, and we were like, no. The other two forgot, but I legitimately lied to the Border Patrol.
We get on the plane. We're flying Athens to New York, so we're flying back home. And it's usually about a 10, 11-hour flight. About a half hour into the flight, immediately in front of me, I'm looking at the guy's head. And all of a sudden, like, the wife who's sitting next to him, she starts screaming, no, oh, in Arabic. And it turns out that the guy's having a stroke. The best thing for his life would have been for the plane to turn around, but instead, now this is always the decision up to the captain. He decides, life or death. He decides he's just going to keep on flying, which means you got another 10 hours to go. Meanwhile, this guy's life is in peril. My wife is a pharmacist. So when they started making the announcements in the plane, they said, we need a doctor urgently, we need a doctor. These two guys run up, younger guys, Canadian, and they're both doctors. So they're talking to the wife. Meanwhile, he's like seizing. He's shaking, whatever, and the wife is screaming, and the kids are like petrified. Basically, they started asking the wife. Meanwhile, there's a language problem. She doesn't speak a lot of English. They don't speak Arabic. Then the flight attendants are asking people, you know, like in Greek. Thank God I speak Greek and English, so I was able to translate. Doctors, they said, show us his medications, what kind of medications he's on. The wife starts showing us these vials, but they're not recognizing any of them. So the only one that basically kind of stepped in and saved the day was my wife, who was the pharmacist, who was able to tell from the, not necessarily from the name of the medication, because in different countries they call different things. So the only way you could tell what the medication is, usually in parentheses, they have the chemical composition. So she was able to read that, because that's international. That's like in any country, you know, there's always like a Latin name for the medication, the chemical. So she said, okay, he's on this. Long story short, they moved him, put him to the back of the plane. They gave him oxygen. I think they might have given him some kind of like intravenous something. And so 10 hours later, we get to New York, and they come in and they take him away. And he's alive.
We're in Disney, and back in the day, I had a crazy weak diaphragm. Anytime I wiggled, moved, I would just do it. And I ate something funky. I puked before we got on the monorail to go to Disney World, and my mom was like, all right, he'll be fine. Like, he got all this out of his system. We're on the monorail, doors closed. This is it. If he has to puke, I don't know what we're gonna do. And my face starts turning like pale. And the lady right in front of me, she's looking up. This kid looks like he's about to go. And my mom like sees her face, and she's looking at me like, uh-oh, like I have nothing to do. And luckily I was wearing one of those like Mickey Mouse hats, you know, the bull hats with the little ears. The lady takes the hat off my head. She goes and puts it right in my face. I go, I fill up this entire hat with, I don't know what it was, like complimentary breakfast, Mickey Mouse waffles and everything. I fill up the entire hat with puke. She saved her whole life by doing that move. My mom didn't know what to do. I never wore that hat again.